need a better platform for this video, but I'll just might have to pull this video in the end, but I just thought that these subjects could go well together, but it'll probably end up having the video pulled. But if people weren't prudish, I know everyone will think it's crazy, but in ancient Greece they did know ghee, but not with so maybe that's an idea. As again, I'll probably have to pull the video, but for now I think that's a great idea, and no one's ever came up with that idea, so there you go, I invented that idea. Yeah, everyone will think I'm mad, but I don't care. Alright, we'll go through TQA and then do a bit of the A word again, but we'll do TQA, and then maybe talk about the Canon photo and the laptop, Dell Inspiron budget laptop, but we need to do the TQA. So TQA, munitions armour. Yes, munitions armour, bulletproof. So after the Middle Ages, after the 1400s, when they get, I'm going to say wheel lock pistols. I think they're the first, because matchlock could only be a two-handed gun. So the first pistols I think were wheel lock. So they get pistols, and they have the rifles as well. They come in they're getting developed in the 1500s. Yes, they existed from about the 13, I think, with hand cannon, but very inaccurate and unreliable. So they kind of properly come in and say after the 1400s, after the Middle Ages. So you get this where it has to be bulletproof. So in order for it to be bulletproof, it has to be denser. So the same area takes up a heavier weight. Therefore you have to reduce the size because it's not functional. There's no mobility or agility. Therefore you end up with 3/4 armour instead of a full suit, because of the weight. You need to reduce it for, say, infantry mobility if you're on a foot scenario, or if you're on a cavalry on a horse scenario. In either case you need mobility and movability. Otherwise, if you're so heavy and bulky you can't move, it's kind of pointless. So TQA, 3/4 armour. So kind of from about really 15 yeah, it could be 1540, it could be 1530. Yeah, there's somewhere in the realm of the mid. Yeah, again, history prof will tell you that it's, you know, the exact detail. I can't yet, but maybe one day I'll find out the exact detail. But for now, just doing a bit of investigation. So for here, it's coming in somewhere in that realm. Munitions armour and TQA needs to be bulletproof, so you have to reduce the size, reduce the weight to increase mobility, so you get TQA, which is fascinating. And I have not seen, I could be wrong, I've not seen a HEMA channel talk specifically on this concept of TQA. Okay, again, not saying there isn't ones out there. I'm just the big ones, Scholar and maybe it's just hasn't crossed people's minds for whatever reason, too busy, or just didn't notice it on that day or whatever. I don't know, but it's a very good idea, TQA. So yeah, now the helmet, there's various styles. There's the closed and the open. So in the ECW, English Civil War, there's the open but at that point they're in half armour mode, but because they're in the mid 1600s. But for TQA, they have various helmets, and they have closed style helmets. They have some cases, especially in the early 1600s, like 1600 say, or 1610, they have medieval style, or medieval-ish, medieval-like helmets. So some will be modern with like a brim and a weird face and a round eye holes, but some will have a sort of medieval, sort of knightly feel to them, because some of these cuirassiers were upper class, so they had, you know, the money, and the knight thing was connected to the class, you know, not just money. It was like background and, you know, family lineage and things like that. But so, you know, they wanted to still feel like a knight well in the post-medieval era, so they had, you know, and maybe it was style, maybe it was traditionalism, whatever, they had some medieval style helmets, and some had this style helmets, yeah. So if we find somewhere on the website, no, I did write it down, but where is it? Here it is. Right. You can pause and you can type in that exact phrasing, okay, in the bubble, right? Exactly the way it is, say on internet images or something, and you should get this silvery metallic colour, fantastic armour, and on this website, and it's defunct that they sell it, but just looking at the pictures is to get the idea. If anyone's interested, just pause. If you're not, that's fine. If you are, though, you just pause and you just go to internet images, but it'll show you, yeah. And again, this stuff could be a replica of a real thing, but well, it's definitely inspired by originals, obviously, but it is incredible craftsmanship, and again, done originally back in the day, in the HEMA days, it was done non-electrically. So you imagine how incredible all this stuff is, whether it's cabinet making from the 1700s, cogwork and clockwork from the 17 and 1800s, you know, or this blacksmithery from, you know, making the TQA from the 16 and 1500s. It's incredible. It's metaphysics, isn't it? We'll put that down, where the non-physical meets the physical realm. Do you know what? I need to do a flipping million-hour podcast on that. But we're in the realms there, because if you go to Speak Hall and you go in the HEMA room, they have carvings on the wall facing the swords, and from Dutch land, actually, which is nice because I'm part Dutch, but the carvings are quite ornate. And then there's a room with a fireplace with a special dedicated carving. I'm not sure what type of nationality of people carved the one in the fireplace room, but again, metaphysics, yeah, incredible carvings. And people probably didn't go on the TokTik and do all the 3-second videos. You had to concentrate for a long time. Yeah, incredible stuff. So, yeah, this exact phrasing spelled that way, and then that. Okay, so 3/4 armour. So some helmets had the grill style. It looks like a wood burner, a wood oven, whatever you want to call it. It really does. Yeah, the fire grill style helm. But there's also the medieval. Let's write it down. There's the medieval style and the grill style, and then there's the open style. But I'm really interested in the closed versions for now. So, yeah, 3/4 armour. So it goes to the thighs. It goes to the, say, ends at the knee joint. It cuts out. It stops its path at the knee joint, either just above or just on. So, yeah. So 3/4 armour. Yeah, and then it evolves into. And there's probably intersectional armour where there's half armour and TQA sort of interact in a similar period, but you come into half armour again, more mobility and stuff. Yeah. So like TQA into half armour. Although in the Aztec conquest with the Spanish, they had half armour, some of the pike men, and that's early, that's about 1519, so that's early 1500s, yeah. So, but then in different cultures, you've got different sort of ideas. So in England and France, towards the late 1800s, they go from, say, curved sabres to more straight swords again. The West having come full circle with the blades almost, but with, say, Austro-Hungaria, so England and France, they have the straight blades, yeah, at the late 1800s, but Austro-Hungaria, I'm not saying they don't have straight blades, but what I'm saying is because Central Europe, say Hungary, Poland, the region of Central Europe, there was the hussars and the curved swords and stuff, and so even that they're keeping their sabres, say, late, so it's still turn of the century. Yeah, and there's a 1904 model, saw the other day on the internet images, that shows this, that they have like the sabre late on, where where Western Europe is more, so Central Europe is still having the sabres, curved swords, where Western Europe is gone back to straight bladed versions. So, which is better for the stab, obviously, yeah. But that's for another day. That one. It's just that different cultures have different ideas. So, some might call something a machete, another or a dagger, but then someone else might call that the same thing, a sword or a short sword, or say a tanto in the West might be called a knife because it's single edged, but then the Japanese might call that a dagger in their culture, so classifications, in cultures can be different, so in China they might call a dao a war knife, but then a single-edged sword, but then in Japan the single-edged sword is called a sword, it's not called a large knife or a war knife. So let's let that picture clear. There we go. So different cultures classify it differently, so just because it's, say, a knife length thing, single-edged, another culture will call that a dagger, even though it's the same thing. So classifications of cultures. Classifications of cultures, yeah. Okay. It's just... I've just got too many ideas and no structure. I think that's the problem. But again, it's the way my brain works. It'll be the ADD, hyperactive thing. Call it what, I don't care what you call it. I don't care about putting official names on. Call it whatever you want, but call it crazy brain syndrome. I don't know. Yeah. So I think this. I'm not saying I don't think in language, but I don't think in, like, you know, spellings or whatever. I think in S and E. Yeah.